site of an unsolved crime. There's been some very strange goings-on, some odd disappearances. There's a strange kind of menace at work on the streets of Glasgow. Once upon a time, you'd have needed the help of a Time Lord to move them. No longer. The blue police boxes, so prominent in most of Britain's cities, have all gone, except in Glasgow. Last year, there were just 11 left. Then, almost literally overnight, most of them disappeared. Today, there are only 4 still standing. It was in Glasgow that the first patented police telephone box appeared in 1891. But it wasn't until the 1920s that a Scotsman, Gilbert Mackenzie Trench, designed a standard model that was to become a familiar sight in every town. The new boxes combined functionality with classical elegance and were made of precast concrete. They introduced for the first time effective on-the-spot communications and rapid response to emergencies. By the 1930s, Glasgow had the highest ratio of police boxes to officers in the UK. 323 in all, almost 1 for every beat.
In 1953, I joined the City of Glasgow Police, and at that time, police boxes, signal boxes, police signal boxes were the lifeline of all constables on the beat.
Well, when we were young, there was police boxes in every area. The local policemen walked the beat. Everybody knew them. They knew you, knew your mother. So you had to watch what you were saying, watch what you were doing. They were your friend if you were theirs.
One particular occasion in Knightswood, there was a serious accident on Alderman Road, and we were able to rush up to that police box and use the emergency service, and I'm sure that day a life was saved.
And just when the police box was beginning to look old-fashioned, television inspired a whole new generation of admirers.
Hey, what's that for?
Oh, well, you see, the problem is, coming back to the 20th century, my dear, the TARDIS, I'm afraid, is often mistaken for the real police box.
See what you mean.
Yes, unfortunately, he can't get in.
If only he could. Scotland Yard, whipped off into time and space.
While most of Britain scrapped its police boxes in the late 60s and 70s, Glasgow's unpredictable climate meant some were spared to provide shelter on the beat. The few that did manage to escape the scrap heap have been vulnerable to attack. But what dark criminal forces have been at work? Well, it's the police. The 11 that did manage to survive till last year have been condemned as surplus to requirement by Strathclyde Police. Why did you make the decision to get rid of the police boxes?
Well, the police boxes became obsolete and redundant in the 1960s with the advent of the personal radio and the increased usage of police vehicles. There was no longer a need for them then.
Aren't they part of the police's heritage?
Well, many things are part of the heritage, but as technology moves on, so does the police service.
2 have been salvaged, even though they've been uprooted. They're now in storage at local museums. The 4 survivors, now Britain's last Mackenzie Trench police boxes in situ, are now living on borrowed time. Their removal is imminent. Because they're shabby and vandalised, no one wants them to stay. Inside, the policeman's fitted desk and cupboard have long since vanished. Outside, the changing townscape conspires to belittle them. A campaign to have the boxes listed by Historic Scotland has so far failed. So a local preservation trust is mounting a last bid to keep them on the streets of Glasgow. The only way now will be to find a modern commercial use for each box. Suggestions have poured into the trust, but there isn't much time. Why don't you just turn them into tourist and novelty kiosks or something?
No, I think there were various things bandied about when we got hold of them. I mean, should they be super loose? Should they be painted green and used as confessionals for busy Catholic executives on way to meetings or something? We had all sorts of really fairly zany ideas, and they're still coming in. If they're not listed, you can kind of do what you want with the boxes. I mean, that's one of the good things. But the bad thing is, of course, that because they're not listed, you could just lose them overnight. And we just feel that It's something it would be a great shame to lose from the city streets.
This is a symbol of a bygone era of policing. It should be kept simply.
Local conveniences